Hello, fellow dungeon crawlers. Today we have another exciting adventure. In this adventure, the players are jailed inside a heavily damaged ship. Due to the chaos of battle, the players freed themselves from their jail. The group will need to find weapons while they dodge enemy patrols. In fact, the game culminates in a truly S-tier level boss fight. Well, this adventure really isn't a dungeon crawl exactly. The dungeon is set aboard a Star Destroyer that is set to self-destruct. The players will need to escape the Star Destroyer before it blows. Even worse, the players find out that the ship is headed towards a rebel fleet, which will totally obliterate the rebel fleet. So if you're interested in a dungeon crawl set during the original Star Wars trilogy, then step inside my dungeon. Starfall was released in 1989 and is one of the early Star Wars D6 adventures and my second favorite from that time period. These adventures were meant to mirror the cinematic, fast-paced action of the Star Wars trilogy. Many of these early Star Wars games could be very linear. They tend to take players through scripted set encounters. I really didn't mind the scripted play so much, since I think the developers truly tried to make Star Wars work as a TTRPG. I'm going to go over the story, so spoiler alerts ahead. This adventure is set into 6 distinct episodes. At the start of the adventure, a script is provided to set up the adventure, and it also gives important background information. The script starts when the players are captured and jailed in a Star Destroyer. The group were on a mission to watch over Walix Blissix, designer of a Victory-class Star Destroyer, which is one of the earlier versions of the Imperial Star Destroyer. The book further said that Walix has a daughter named Lyra. She is a designer of an Imperial Star Destroyer and is now married to an Imperial governor. Word reached Walix that she is dying and her last request is to see her father one last time. Surely this couldn't be a trap. A daughter would like to see her father one last time before the eternal sleep. Well, it was a trap. The players are thrown into a cell in a Star Destroyer and now they're waiting an interrogation droid to start its cruel work. When the opening script is finished, violent explosions rock the ship back and forth. Then the lights in the cell cut out. The players will need to make a difficult strength roll to see if they could pry the doors open. The players escape the detention center only to find darkness. Remember, the players have no weapons and no sources of light. As they struggle in the darkness, a blaster bolt screams towards them. The best chance is to try to hide and fight hand-to-hand when they are close enough. This will be a tough fight since the players are unarmed. The episode ends with the group finding the old engineer, and the DM should read the cutaway. A high-ranking Imperial officer looks through a huge viewport, seeing a heavily damaged Star Destroyer. The Star Destroyer is beyond repair, and the officer remains stern. With an evil smile on his face, he plans his next move. The players open the blast door to reveal the sublight engine is burning. They move to a catwalk workstation where they find out that the ship is set to self-destruct. Walix can set the self-destruct to activate 1 hour before the Imperial's chosen time. This will give the group enough time to head to the hangar bay to steal a ship and save the rebel fleet. As our heroes reach the intersection, the first major battle initiates. 6 stormtroopers attack the group from behind at medium range with no cover. There are controls to the blast doors that can cut off the stormtroopers temporarily, but the group will need to pass an intersection. When the first players reach the intersection, they discover the grave situation is even worse. A team of stormtroopers have set up a tri-mounted automatic blaster. The group will need to get past this efficient weapon while the stormtroopers from behind still press forward. After one combat battle ends, you hear Captain Koloff's voice through the comm system. Our time so trying in the rebellion that they have armed moisture farmers and used droid salesmen against the might of the Empire. Must they leave it to me to train you as soldiers? So be it. Your first lesson is called Neutralizing a Crossfire. Try not to panic. Players can move against the automatic blaster, but with no cover and it attacks twice, it's going to be difficult, so maybe it's time to use a force point or two. The end of the episode, the players find a small bit of rest. They walk into a medical bay with a functioning medical droid. And fortunately, he's programmed to help any injured, no matter if they're Imperials or Rebels. The cutaway opens the episode on the bridge of a Mon Cal cruiser. The camera pans across a heavily damaged cruiser, and the captain orders a damage report. The Mon Cal cruiser is at 50%, but the Star Destroyer is dead in space. The captain yells, "Task Force Starfall, prepare for attack." The players finally reach the engine core, where the group is on a small metal ledge, looking over a huge shaft surrounded by energy. There is a small central platform. Walex explains that he can alter the self-destruct on that central platform. Shortly after starting his work, Captain Koloff's voice can be heard on the comlink yet again. How disappointing. Here's your next and quite possibly last lesson. I call it dying. At that point, doors slide open, revealing 6 stormtroopers at each doorway, readying their weapons to fire. It's time for the players to come up with a creative idea to save the day. If not, Walex will come up with a way to change the energy field into a turbo lift field. The group can then jump into the field to end the episode. Episode 4 starts when the players survive Captain Koloff's trap. The group is in a heavily damaged area. The hull is battered and smashed and is even venting atmosphere. The players reach a crashed Y-wing that is suspended by cables. In easy technology roll, the players will discover the Y-wing is almost completely destroyed. Only the cannon is still working. Past the Y-wing is a particularly shattered section. The floors and ceilings have been blown off to reveal only the superstructure. The section is about 60 feet, but it is in 0G. The players need to jump to float across, but this will be awkward. The players will see 6 stars approaching quickly. They will realize that they are not stars, but stormtroopers. They are using their blaster shots to propel themselves along skillfully. This will be a challenging fight since the players will be having problems just navigating in 0G. But if the players remember the Y-wing, the gun can make short work of the stormtroopers. The players are led to a hangar bay that is set up for Captain Koloff's final exam. ATST scouts line the back wall. The vehicle lift is activated. Through the smoke, a fully operational ATST arrives. The scout turns its weapons towards the group. Captain Koloff will allow the group to crew 1 ATST. Koloff will then commence the ATST duel. This will be a fast-moving battle. The scouts can move the entire hangar bay in one turn. The battle will be at point blank with twin blaster cannons and concussion grenades. It can be a brutal battle like a street fight inside an elevator. After defeating Captain Koloff, the players can take a lift to a fueled Imperial shuttle, but they need to leave quickly. As the group launches the shuttle, explosions rock the Star Destroyer. The Star Destroyer explodes as the group's shuttle is thrown by the shockwaves. The party receives a communication from the Rebel fleet. They are allowed to land and they will receive a hero's welcome. I've played this adventure a few times, and I've heard people describe this game as Die Hard on a Star Destroyer, but I think of it more as Titanic in the Star Wars universe. If you have a group that doesn't mind a heavily scripted adventure, this might be a fun one. Let me know in the comments if you played Starfall and what you thought of it. If you made it this far, how about giving me a like? It would really help out the channel. And I don't have anything planned yet for Star Wars, so let me know what's good out there and maybe I could discuss it sometime. Make sure you're subscribed so you'll be notified when the next adventure is ready, and I truly and sincerely appreciate your watch time, and I'll see everybody on the next Dungeon Crawl.